Hello again, it's Tom here and welcome back to Magic Woodworking. So, you may have noticed winter's coming. The clocks have gone back, the mornings are darker and the nights are drawing in. And because of this, I thought I'd take a look at some extra lighting. So here's a few items from the Makita range which I thought you guys might find interesting. So let's go through this together and see if they're any good. Okay then, so before I get into this, I will say I am not affiliated with Makita in any way. So this will be a totally unbiased review and you'll get my honest opinion on all these lights. Yes, I am a Makita fanboy, but I will give you my honest opinion on if I think they're any good and definitely pick out any bad points. So with that said, let's get into this. So this is the DML810 on-site light. Its party piece is you can bump into it and it self-rights. It goes right the way over and will come back up. I'm not going to do it now because it will fall off the bench, but you get the idea. The idea is you can bump into it, it doesn't matter. You can also link several of these together. It costs about 110 to 120 pounds. I'll give you a link in the description below if you're interested on Amazon. It comes bare with no batteries, but it will take two 18-volt batteries to run it, or it can be plugged into the main. So this is a dual operation on this one. Not the others don't have this. This is the only one that's got it. It's another reason why I picked it out. As for the illumination settings, it goes from 5,500 lumen, 3,000 lumen, and 1,500 lumen, or bloody useless, as I like to call it, because no one wants to go down that low. It doesn't illuminate anything. The first two settings will be what you'll be using it if you buy it. It's an LED light, and with that said, there's a small issue. From what I can see, you cannot replace this LED light. So if something goes wrong, I think you have to buy a whole new unit. I might be wrong on that, but I can't see a way of removing it. So if you know better than me, let me know in the comments. So to operate it, that's the on and off. This is the illumination settings. And down here, you can switch the light from being fully on, just on the right hand side, just on the left hand side. So not a bad idea. To put your batteries in, you pop that open, slip them in. It's relatively easy, a little bit fiddly because you have to reach right down inside it, but after a little bit of messing around, there we go, we're in. And locked it off, there we go, locked off. And as you can see, reasonably bright. At the end I will demonstrate them all in the dark so you can see how good or how bad they are. So that's the overall features of this light. The main bad things, as I said, is about trying to change the bulb. The other one is it's not exactly light and it is rather cumbersome. You know, it takes up quite a bit of room, and at the end of the day, space is a premium in the back of a van, or at least those of us who've got a small van. You know, this does take up a lot of room for what it is and how often you're going to use it. So I'm not a big lover of that. Cost wise, I don't think it's a bad cost, but 110, 120 pounds. Some places charge a lot more, but that's, you can get it down to that price. And other than that, it is, you know, it's robust. It would take a beating. So okay, so that's the first one. Let's move on to the next light. If you're enjoying this video and you'd like to support me, please give me a thumbs up, or better yet, subscribe down there. It costs nothing and it makes YouTube show this to other people who haven't seen my channel before. Anyway, enough about me, let's get back on with this review. Okay then, so the next one is this. It's the DMR056. Now this one is a lantern, light and radio. Now, it runs you for anywhere from about £96 through to about 110, depending on where you get it from. Again, link in the description if you're interested. It is 750 lumen, So in other words, it's not very bright. I might as well just demonstrate that now. As you can see, that's its maximum. Yeah. And then on top, which you can also have flashing, and you can also change to 3 different tones of light from warm, white, etc. So I find this to be a little bit expensive for what it is. I don't find it to be a good light at all. Again, I will demonstrate in a moment in the dark. I'm guessing for camping it's okay, but for on-site, quite frankly, it's bloody useless. It would illuminate under some cabinets, I guess, but it's not particularly bright. The radio is not bad, but as you can tell from something this size, it's not going to be overly loud. So let's just turn it on now, just to give you an idea. Local news channel, when it decides to come on. It's connecting. It's connecting.
Disney's Hercules has been announced. It's coming to the West End.
So as you can tell, it's a reasonable
We're
sound.
hear from the actor who has got that time.
You know, again, it comes bare at £110. There is no battery on it. But the way I look at it is, that kind of money, I'd much rather buy the last light, because it gives a hell of a lot more light. Okay, it hasn't got a radio with it, but let's be fair. If you want a radio, you buy a dedicated radio. If you want a light, you buy a dedicated light. I get the idea of this for camping, best of both worlds, but on site, neither one are particularly good. Anyway, let's move on. So finally, we have this one, the DML814. Now this is the most expensive of the batch. This one runs at £260 or thereabouts. Again, link in the description. It folds away, as you can see, nice and neatly. It's still quite tall, but it's very thin. You can fit it into your van. So open it up. There is a trigger right there. Pull the trigger, pull down, which opens the tripod. Now, this again comes bare for that 260. It only takes one battery, which goes in there. It's spring loaded, so there you go. Also, this is IPR 55 rated, so it keeps all the dust and water out and everything else. And I believe this extends up to past 7 feet, which I will demonstrate now, I should say. There's 2 levers here, so release them off, and in theory I should, bearing in mind I've only tried playing with this a couple of times. There we go. It goes all the way up, as you can well see. I won't keep it all the way up there right now, but you get the idea. So it extends all the way up in the air where you get where you want. Lock it off. It has 3 LEDs that you can swivel and point to wherever you want, and the head rotates 180 degrees, and obviously, you know, you can spin it round to where you want. This particular one isn't as bright as I would like. I believe this is 3000 lumen on its brightest setting, 1700 lumen on the next setting, and the final one is like 950 or something like that, which is again bloody useless. You would never use it, but again, you get the idea. So you got 2 buttons, one to turn it on here, as you can see, and then the other one to change the brightness on the other side. Other than that, it's well made. It's aluminium construction, and it's just feels robust. It feels like you're getting your money's worth, apart from the lumens. I would, for the money you're paying for this, I'd like to see it like the first one I showed you, sort of 5,500 lumen. I really want to like this, but the elephant in the room is the sheer fact it doesn't go as bright as you might want. Again, I love the way it works. It's just, the rub is the sheer fact it doesn't go quite that bright. And again, you're paying a lot of money for this. It's something, why can't they make it brighter? Yeah, you've got 3 settings. You can turn it down if you wanted to. But yeah, so that's my only real bugbear about this, is the price and the sheer fact it doesn't go quite as bright as I would like. But the design, I think it is a nice design, quite frankly. Right, I think the only thing left to do now is try them in the dark so you can see what they actually function like properly. So this is the maximum light setting. Mid setting, lowest setting. And as I said before, you can move from one side back to middle. So yeah, you can basically move it as you want to, which isn't bad if you don't want to illuminate the whole room and you just want to do one side or the other. As I said before, it self-rights. I think it's an ingenious little light. It's definitely the brightest. Okay, let's try out the lantern. I don't think you need me to tell you this isn't very bright. And this is on the top setting. That's the minimum setting. That's the light on the top. That's the flashing. And back to the main setting. And that's the different tones of light you can have. But yeah, quite frankly, it would light up a tent if you're camping, or as I say, under some cupboards, but that's about all you're going to get out of that. So this, as you can see, is the maximum illumination. I sort of tilted it so it's not glaring the camera too much. You kind of get the idea. You can sort of point it here, there, wherever you might want it. That is the brightest setting. Middle setting, bottom setting, which, as I say, isn't great. But overall, it lights the room up reasonably well. But again, as I said, for £260, that could be a lot better. Okay then, so my final decision on what's worth having and what's not. Well, it's rather out the gate, that's not worth having. Unless you're going camping, and even then I think there's better ones. This as an on-site light I think is very robust, will take a beating. I do like it, and for £110, £120 it's good value for money. It's just the storage, I couldn't warrant having it in my van because it takes up too much room and it's heavy to lump around all the time. Also I should mention the runtime is a lot longer on this than this, but obviously it does have 2 batteries. But for me, although it's £260, I'd have this. Just simply for the fact that you can direct the lights wherever you want. It only takes up 1 battery, not 2, because obviously you might want the other battery on another piece of kit. I like the way it stands up in the corner, out of the way. It's not very heavy to move around. Yes, okay, it's £260, but I do think it's well worth it for the build. And you know me, I'm a Makita fanboy, and when they come out with something new and interesting, I'm usually straight there on the bandwagon. But anyway, so in my eyes, I like this. I don't know if you've learned anything from this video, but either way, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks, bye bye.